precious friend. Welcome back to the You Are Too Sensitive podcast with one of your most sensitive, too much friends, Jade Beal. I'm so happy you're here. We made it another week in this Earth school. We've done it, my loves. Let's take a deep breath together. Inhale through your nose, your mouth closed. Shoulder soften, jaw softens, third eye softens. And exhale so slow. We made it. We did it. For us deep feelers, life can be a lot. But there's a point to this allotness, my loves. There's a point. I know, I'm right with you. Often it feels like, well, what is the point? But even that question is the point. It is no accident that you and I are deeply feeling. That we feel things in ways that maybe don't really gel with the normal. Or at least I can speak for myself. For me, I cry a lot. I get teary a lot. I used to be very embarrassed by that, but I'm not anymore. Just today I had a client, I had a massage client. It was the first time I worked on her. And she drove a really long way to come to receive this massage. And she also is a massage therapist. And while I was working on her, she has a lot of pain in her shoulder, and she had to lay a certain way just to protect her shoulder. And so it made it a little more tricky for my normal, quote-unquote, process with massage. And I had so much reverence for this precious body, this deeply feeling body, this body that brings so much peace to other bodies through massage. And I cried pretty much through the whole session. And that's something I really enjoy doing, is being so present with whatever is. And when I laid my hands on her shoulder, there was so much grief. And I couldn't help but cry. I wasn't allowing the grief to come through my body because as a body worker, I've learned that I don't need to bring other people's pain through my body. Instead, I tap into the source of energy that exists for us all. And so I tune in my body into that juicy, gorgeous flow of abundance. And then I hold somebody else in their flow of juicy, gorgeous abundance. And therefore, I don't need to take it into my own body. But as I was holding her shoulder, I felt this grief and I was crying. I had to move my head to make sure that I didn't cry onto her. Meaning, I didn't want my tears to fall onto her skin because, no. I take precautions that my sweat, because I do sweat a lot when I'm massaging precious bodies, I don't want my sweat or my tears to fall onto bodies. Sometimes they do, and well, I ask for forgiveness, but I don't want folks to be thinking what was that? My point is, I was working on this precious body and I just was moved to tears. I wasn't taking in the grief. I was just being very present with the grief in this shoulder that was also connected to a mastectomy on the same side of that body. And just having such reverence for these bodies. So often we want to blame them, oh, my body's against me. I've had a mastectomy, I've had this frozen shoulder, I've had all these things, and it's not that our bodies are against us. It's that our bodies are doing their very best given the circumstances. If you are like me, and I have a feeling you are, if you listen to this podcast, because the average Joe Schmo does not listen to this podcast. It takes a deeply feeling human to listen to this podcast. You too feel things deeply. So, this week, I have quite a few things lined up. And next week, I'm excited for the topic that I'm going to bring to y'all. But this week, I wanted to bring something that's top of my mind. And that is how embracing our darkest parts, embracing what I like to call my inner asshole. Forgive me if you don't like curse words, but that's the best. All week, I'm like, what else could I call it? And I can't come up with any other word than my inner asshole. Like, that's who it is. She's this annoyed, short-tempered, selfish, very young baby girl Jade. I love her. I love my inner asshole. But I really can't find another word for her, so that is what I'm going to call her for today, and maybe forever. Embracing our inner asshole in regards to being the very best parent that we can be. And if you don't have kids, this doesn't need to necessarily just be about being a parent to a child, because all of us are parents to our inner child. Our inner 3-year-old, our inner 6-year-old, our inner 10-year-old, our inner 13-year-old, our inner 16-year-old, our inner 20-year-old, our inner 25-year-old, our inner 30-year-old, our inner yesterday old. So all of us are parents. Some of us, like myself, we have our own inner parenting and then the parenting of another human. And what I want to touch on today is how embracing my own inner asshole has not only given me access to my greatest healing, but also, in my opinion, give me access to being the very best parent that I can be. So today is a little different. I am recording, it's 7:54 p.m. on Saturday night, and I'm sitting on my porch. I have the cutest little porch in my townhouse, and I'm sitting out here mid-December, and the weather's perfect. I don't know what I have a tank top on. I have no shoes, no socks on. My dog is laying by me, and the reason that I'm out here is because I have a precious friend visiting and staying with me, Iris, she's originally from Holland, but she lives now in Portugal, and she is a specialist in fertility and menstrual cycle health, and she was in Phoenix for a seminar with her business coach, and she comes to Tucson. She has a few friends here in Tucson, and I had the honor of getting to host her here in my little townhouse. And honestly, I've been in this townhouse for a year, and she's my first overnight guest besides my husband, who I guess really isn't an overnight guest. If you listen to this podcast, you know I don't live with my husband, but we have sleepovers, obviously. Usually every other week when I don't have my son, when my son is with my co-parent, I have sleepovers with my husband for a few nights, not a lot. And so she's my first guest, and so she's sleeping in my loft, and I'm sleeping with my son in his bedroom, which is so sweet. He's so generous. He's okay with his mom sleeping in his bed with him, and I just love that. But I'm not recording in my loft because my dear friend is in my loft, and also this week has been so busy. So I haven't had time to record until now, and I didn't want to record tomorrow because I'm going to go on a hike. And I have fun things planned for Sunday. So I was like, well, there's two options. I either don't record or I sit on my porch and I record from here. So that's what I'm doing. And so if it sounds a little different, that's probably why. I was hoping there'd be more crickets, but I don't hear any crickets. But what I do hear is so much silence. That's one of the reasons I loved moving up to this townhouse. You know, I've always lived in downtown Tucson. My dad always was a downtown guy. And so, when I was a child, that's where we lived. And for the last, 13, 14, at least the last 15 years, I've lived in downtown Tucson, which I've loved because you can walk to the best things. But it's also very loud. And there's a lot of people, a lot of cars. And so moving outside of downtown and moving to closer to the mountains, although I'm only about a 25-minute drive to downtown, I now live on the outskirts. I live in nature. It's quieter, slower. And yeah, I was in the hot tub a little bit earlier and I could hear the crickets, and I was hoping that when I recorded this there would be some crickets in the background, but there's not. It's just me. Okay, so let's dive in. One of the most profound lessons I've learned in our school was becoming a mother. Before I gave birth to my son, I really thought I was too selfish to be a mom. I used to say that. And it was true. If I am very honest, before I had my son, I kind of let my inner asshole have free reign. And that's not a bad thing. But what I mean by that is I worked really hard because if you listen to the podcast, you know I've been self-employed since I was a teenager. And I worked really hard. And anyone who was in my close life, like a partner, didn't get my best energy. And that feels a little shameful to admit, but it's the truth. I'd give everything I had to my massage clients, to my photo clients, and to my dance students. I'd give, especially my dance. I would give everything on the dance floor when I used to teach dance. And then whomever I was living with, they kind of got the dregs. And I thought that's how it was supposed to be. I thought that was love. I thought that whomever you lived with, if they really loved you, then they should be okay with the dregs. With the tea leaves, basically. Everyone else gets the tea, but literally the person closest to you gets the tea leaves. If you hear that noise in the background, that's my dog. He's moving around a lot on my porch out here. So that's where I was coming from when I thought about having a child. And, well, I've had 3 pregnancies, but only 1 live birth, which is my son. And when I found out I was pregnant, it was not expected at all. And in fact, I was single because his dad had just broken up with me. He had broken up with me and gone to San Diego. And I was all by myself in Tucson, running a dance studio, running my photography business, and running my massage business alone. And I found out I was pregnant. Alone. Luckily, my dad was still alive at that time, so I had his support. But it was not the pregnancy where you get to excitedly tell your partner, I'm pregnant, and everyone celebrates. It was not that. And when I did share the news, and this is not to put down my co-parent, because my co-parent's a beautiful human. But at the time, we weren't together. And when I shared the news of my pregnancy, it was received with, well, let's just say, not joy. And I knew that I was going to support this pregnancy. And I said, well, if you don't want to be here with me in this, that's fine. It's valid. I mean, we weren't planning for this. I don't even honestly know how it happened. I don't know. I have no idea how it happened. My son's dad had broken up with me. I was alone. I said, it's okay if you don't want to be a part of this. I totally understand. But I'm going through with this. I was 32 years old. And I felt like I'm going to see if this comes through. I'd already been pregnant twice with no baby. Also not planned. And I felt like the universe was kind of speaking through me. And she was like, baby girl, let's go. You don't, you got me. You don't need anyone else. Let's go. So I committed to it. And I let my partner, or my ex-partner, off the hook. I was like, whatever you need to do, don't worry, I got this. And his stance was, well, I don't want to be an absentee father. But at the same time, he was very angry at me. Because his choice would have been, which is very reasonable, would have been for me to terminate the pregnancy, which is very reasonable. Like, yeah, we weren't together. That would be a very logical decision. And I understand it. But if I'm being honest and being with myself, that's not how I imagined being received as a pregnant woman. And I don't blame him. Please, please, please do not hear this. I am not here to blame anybody. I understand all points. But I am allowed to have grief for myself and being so alone in that moment. A woman who is self-employed, running 3 businesses by herself, no savings account, no money, making it all work month to month by the hair of her chinny chin chin. And then she discovers she's pregnant alone, with no one excited about it. Granted, if we fast forward, my co-parent is a fabulous co-parent. He loves his son. I've never talked to him about this, but I know he loves his son, our child. I know he does. And he's shown up beautifully. But the truth is, it started so alone. No one celebrating me. But there I was. I did it. I was pregnant. I ran a dance studio all by myself. I run a photography business all by myself. And I ran my massage business all by myself while pregnant, and no one supported me. I apologize. There's a really loud car. Jeez Louise. That car's so loud. So that was the beginning of this parenting journey. I was very much alone, very much in survival, trying to run 3 businesses as a poor person with no savings account, but a lot of vision. I had a lot of vision. The dance studio was one of my dreams, and my co-parent helped me manifest that. He helped me see that I could do that, which I'm so grateful for. But I made it happen on my own. I ran that thing on my own by renting it out to other teachers, and I ran my own dance classes there. I did all my photo shoots there. I did my massages there. Like, it was downtown Tucson, right off of the very famous 4th Avenue. So it was a fabulous location. This was in 2000, I almost said 19, in 2011. This was 2011. when I opened this. I was pregnant in 2011. And my co-parent and I, while I was pregnant, we ended up being business partners and living together, but not as romantic partners, just as like business partners. But if you were from the outside looking in, you would probably think we were romantic partners because we did live together and we ran businesses together. But really, we were just business partners in collaboration with also birthing a child, because my co-parent did get on board with like, okay, we're going to do this. And he wanted to be a present father. And so we decided to live together for a few years and then reevaluate after a few years. But he was totally wanting to be a support, which I'm so grateful for. But I want to be really honest, the distinction of being a support and being someone who like loves a woman while she's pregnant, I did not receive that. While I was pregnant, I received absolutely zero love. And I know I'm not alone. No one massaged my feet with love, and no one put their head to their belly and talked to the baby, and no one told me how wonderful I was, or no. I had support. I had someone who wanted the best for me, and so therefore I am grateful. But within my gratitude, I also desire to be honest about how it felt. And I had a fabulous birth, and my co-parent was there, and my mom and my sister was also there. My dad was there. My dad's girlfriend was there. It was a beautiful birth on a beautiful day in February of 2012. My son was born on February 12, 2012. So his birthday is 2/12/2012. How gorgeous is that? And I had fabulous support, but again, I did not have someone to like hold me and kiss me and say, well done, you just birthed a human. I was pretty much on my own with people who cared. And I don't want to minimize that care because some people have zero care. I did have care. And I felt very alone. So I go into this parenting, running 3 businesses, very, very afraid. I was filled with fear from the time I was pregnant. After I gave birth, I was so afraid, how am I going to make this work? How do I have a newborn and run a dance studio and run a photography business and run a massage business by myself? How do I do that? First of all, I had no experience with being with newborns. So there I was with a newborn and 3 businesses. I did figure it out. I did. But I'm going to be honest, my inner asshole was very, very much online. And if I could go back, I would do it so differently. I feel like I was so focused on survival and making my businesses work and making sure that I met my bills, that I wasn't fully present with my precious newborn baby. But I did it. I mean, I found people to help me care for him. Luckily, my dad was still alive, so he helped me a lot. But I was still teaching dance classes, and so I'd have friends come over and watch him while I taught, and it was a constant juggle. But I did it. I absolutely did it. And then about 4 months into my pregnancy, I took photos of myself postpartum, and I posted them online, and they went viral, and that's when my whole photography, it really exploded. And here I have a newborn, and then the Today Show is showing up at my studio, filming me and talking about how I photograph women postpartum. And because I did, after I photographed that photograph of myself postpartum, I started photographing other women postpartum, and the Today Show came to film me. I was on the BBC. I was all of a sudden on all these shows as a brand new postpartum mother running 3 businesses and a newborn, and everyone wanted to know, well, what is this thing you're saying, that postpartum bodies are beautiful. And honestly, at the time, I didn't even actually believe that in my own body. I was so afraid of my fat body back then. But I did find other bodies absolutely beautiful. I did. I didn't know why that was. I didn't know why I found other bodies that were all shapes and sizes beautiful, but I didn't find my own beautiful. I didn't know why. But I know that now. I know that it's hard. It was harder for me to accept my fat body because of survival. But that absolutely, I used to feel like a hypocrite for loving other bodies, but not my own. But now I know, well, my own survival makes it hard for me to accept my own body. But it's free. I can see the truth in other bodies because my survival is not is not running the show. When I look at other bodies, I can just see that from my heart place. I can see other bodies from my heart place. Whereas when I look at my own body, it's from more a survival place that is filtered through decades of growing up that only thin is accepted here. So my work is going through the roof. I'm getting tons of traction, but let me be honest, I'm not making any money. I'm getting so much traction, and my photos are going viral. Every time I post a photo on Facebook or Instagram, it goes viral at this time. This is like 2013. It was really fun, but I was not making any money. It was not like I could exhale. I was still running a dance studio, a photography business, and a massage business. And now I have all this viral photography, and then I wanted to make a book. So I started a Kickstarter campaign to make this book. And so then I had 4 jobs making this book of postpartum mothers and all the other businesses I had, as well as being a mother to a newborn with no romantic partner. But I did have a co-parent, and I did have my dad. So I was able to have some time to myself to get things done, which is a lot more than a lot of mothers have. And still, I have a lot of grief about it. I had no one to put their hands on my shoulders and say, good job. And I did have support. So let's get to the inner asshole part. I did not train to become a mother. I came into it, like a lot of us do, with the parenting that we received. And the parenting I received was the very best that my parents had to offer. But it was a long way from what was absolutely the most in support of my particular nervous system. That's not because they're bad parents, though. It's taken me 40 years to know how to tend to my nervous system. Of course, they did not know how. They did their very best. And luckily, my mom did move to Mexico, to a little village. That was an absolute lifesaver for my deeply sensitive self. But my point is, I came into this parenting with just what I had been parented with, which was a lot of short tempers, a lot of shut up and do what I say, which is valid. They had to do it that way. But that's how I came into it. And also, like I was saying before, I gave my all to my dance students and to my photography clients and to my massage clients. And so to my family, I had nothing. And so at the end of the day, I have nothing to give to my poor little newborn baby. I'm exhausted. I've given everything away. And so the first step was realizing how to balance that energy. Wait a minute, I can't give everything to my clients. So how can I give less so that I don't come home an exhausted, resentful asshole? That was the first step. The second step was realizing how quickly I turned to my ugly self. And I realized really quick I did not want to be the kind of parent that yells at my kid. And to this day, I can say with my hand on my heart and feet to the earth, and you can ask my son, I have only yelled at my son once. And let me tell you what, I still have to apologize for that time. He remembers it vividly. I was exhausted, short-fused. This was probably, let's see, 13. It was probably 10 years ago now. Maybe 9 years ago. I was exhausted because, well, I have to work. And I try to balance the very best I can my energy. But my fuse was short, and he spilled coconut oil all over the rug. I made this huge stain in this house that we used to live in. It was my first house that I'd ever owned. And I was so scared of ruining that house because I wanted to keep it pristine because it was the first house I had ever owned. And I don't know, maybe I have to sell it. And I got so mad. And to this day, 10 years later, I still get to apologize for that. Because when my son tenses and like, well, I don't want to get in trouble. And I ask him, like, baby, when have you ever gotten in trouble with me? And he looks at me and he says, the coconut oil. He still remembers it, y'all. And so then I get to apologize again. And I say, oh, baby, that wasn't right of me. I am so sorry that I scared you and that I unjustly yelled at you because of a stupid accident with the coconut oil. Well, I've never heard. I live in the middle of nowhere. What are these sirens? Jeez Louise, what are these sirens? Okay, they're gone. It's noisy out here. I didn't know. When you have a microphone on, it's a lot noisier. That's another thing, if you don't know me. I'm hard of hearing. If you ever hang out with me, you'll know that real quick, that I am hard of hearing. But when I have my headphones on and I have the microphone on, I can hear things that I don't hear with just my normal hearing. I'm like, wow, it's actually not as quiet as I thought it was here. Because I have the microphone on. Okay, my point is, I grew up with my parents yelling at me all the time, telling me I was a spoiled, stupid brat, calling me all different kinds of names, yelling at me regularly. Now, again, let me say, I do not hold this against my parents, precious, precious souls. They were doing the best they knew how. They too were in survival mode. I fully forgive them and I love them both so much. But the truth is that had an impact, just like that one time I yelled at my son had an impact. And that has been the blessing of seeing how that one time that I yelled at my baby boy, he remembers it. His body remembers it. His soul remembers it. And it gives me such beautiful reflection of like, whoa, I was yelled at like that weekly, regularly, by very dysregulated parents who are in constant survival mode. And so my point in sharing this is part of my parenting style that I'm really passionate about is I'm going to get shit wrong. And I work with people who say, I'm so scared that my child is going to hate me for something in the future. And I say, we cannot control that. I can guarantee you I am doing shit right now. I am parenting in a way that in 10 years I'm going to cringe at. Just like I cringe at 10 years ago me yelling over the coconut oil. I don't know what I don't know. But when I do know, I do know, and I do better. So, owning my inner asshole allows me to be the very best parent that I can be. It does not mean I'm perfect. I'm not striving for perfection. I can't even say it perfectly. I'm not striving for perfection. I am desiring to continue to be the most embodied person I can be. And in 10 years, I'm going to be much more embodied, if I'm so lucky to keep living, that is, than I am right now. And so I can guarantee you I'm making mistakes right now. But I have so much self-compassion that that's okay. That doesn't mean I let myself be off the hook to hurt my child. It means I embrace my inner asshole. I embrace that I make mistakes. But I'm not afraid of those mistakes. I'm not afraid to own up to them. I am not afraid to hold myself accountable. In fact, I desire to hold myself accountable. Holding myself accountable, especially to my precious baby boy, feels like a blessing. I know I didn't get to have conversations with my dad. I have conversations with him now in spirit world, and he's very forgiving. Spirits are just full, like, I love you, like they just live in this vibration of love. But having a conversation with my mom, for her to hold herself accountable for her inner asshole isn't possible for some reason. I don't know if it's generational or I don't know what it is, but I feel like for her to hold that might kill her, to be honest. In her mind, she did really well, because here's the truth. She did beautifully. I have no idea what my mother endured as a child. I have a pretty good guess. She had some not pretty good. Let me erase that. She had some pretty horrible trauma. I'm pretty sure it had to do, there was some sexual trauma. I think she learned how to block that out. I also think she normalized it, like that's just what happens. My mom is a survivor. She's a beautiful, beautiful soul. This is not an attack. And for my mom to say, I'm so sorry that I didn't believe you when you told me that that our family friend was sexually abusing you. I don't think she can do that, because I don't know what it would do to her. But for me, the wisdom that I gained from her inability to do that, the gift she gave me within that was, I absolutely am able to be like, I am so sorry. I didn't do better. For my mom, it's like, well, I did this and this and that for you. Like, she needs to validate, like, but I did so many good things. She did so many good things. Oh, she gave me the most beautiful childhood. It is true. There was also a lot of hurtful things. And so the gift she gave me as a parent is, I can recognize, I know I'm giving my baby boy the best. I live for him. I do. I love giving him the best of my energy. Finally, I know how to balance my energy with my clients, and so that I have enough to give to my baby. I also know I am making mistakes. I also know my inner asshole sometimes takes over. I know I'm a selfish asshole sometimes, and that's going to get in the way, and my son is going to feel it. And I don't need to pretend otherwise. Nor do I need it to wash away the fact that I do so much beauty for him. If my son, I'm not going to even say if, when my son comes to me one day and says, Mom, X, Y, and Z really hurt, I'm going to place my hand to my heart and the feet to the earth, and I'm going to say, I believe you. Oh man, thank you for sharing that with me. thank you. I believe you. Because that hard truth, first of all, I'm so happy he's sharing it with me. That in itself is huge. That's trust. Second of all, him sharing something that was hard does not dismiss the beauty. He might not say all the beautiful and thank you, Mom, for all of these other things. Thank you, Mom, for literally giving up your life to support me. He doesn't need to say that. It is evident. I have led him to a life that he is living today. I am giving him my very best. And I'm also very much at peace that I'm a human. I'm a beautiful human that is also deeply flawed. And when I say deeply flawed, I mean those flaws are my earth school. And I'm not going to know what those flaws are for another 10 years. But my son, he's probably picking up on them right now. He might not know how to vocalize it, but he will eventually. And my goal is to continue to cultivate a place of safety so that he feels safe enough to come to me and say, Mom, X, Y, and Z didn't feel good. I did not like how you did this or that. And I can say, thank you for telling me, baby boy. Because I've done enough healing in myself to hold the fact that I know I did beautiful. But I also have so much self-compassion for the shit I get wrong. I have so much self-compassion for the inner asshole that I absolutely am. And the people who see my inner asshole the most in earth are my son, my husband, and my mother. Used to be my dad. I think my dad used to see my inner asshole the very most because he gave me the most spaciousness. He loved me in my most ugliest assholeness. That's why I love him the most. And a part of me has so much grief that I'm not able to tell him, like, oh, Dad, I'm sorry I was such an asshole so often to you. But the cool thing is, now I know he's sitting right here with me. He's listening as I speak to y'all. And he forgives me. And he sees the light. He doesn't hold my inner asshole against me. And I think he feels very proud that he was able to give me that space, unlike anyone else on earth has been able to. He gave me the biggest gift that I could be my ugliest self. And he wrapped his arms around me. And now, it wasn't always like that in high school. He almost wanted to put me in a mental institution and send me away because he didn't know how to deal with my too muchness. Not his fault. It was too much. He didn't know what to do. I forgive him for that. I was too much. Now, I've reparented myself in those moments. I wasn't. I don't think I was too much. I go back and reparent. I know exactly how to parent that precious, big feeling teenager that I was, who got perfect grades and excelled at everything she did. And was overwhelmed most of the time, but didn't know what even overwhelm meant. And that's why, my son and I, we never fight. He's 13. When I was 13, I was fighting with my parents so much because I felt so misunderstood. My son and I never fight. It doesn't mean we don't have hard conversations. We do. It doesn't mean that I don't feel hurt by things like him not telling me about his secret TikTok that I discovered. It doesn't mean we don't have hard conversations. I am not afraid of hard conversations. But I see those moments as opportunity to show him you can have hard conversations and be free from stonewalling, be free from name calling, be free from screaming. You can have hard conversations that, yes, feel very, very uncomfortable. But no one is yelling. No one is calling you names. No one is belittling you or gaslighting you. And that is my pride and joy. Am I doing it right? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm doing it in a way that feels in alignment today. Most likely, in 10 years, I'll be doing it a very different way. And when I say that I cringe at how I used to do things 10 years ago, I want to actually take that back and say it differently. I mean, yeah, I cringe, like, oh God. But I also have so much self-compassion for that younger version of myself. She also was doing her best. She did not know what she did not know. So, embracing our inner asshole, embracing the fact that we're gonna get things wrong. And instead of allowing that to completely overtake all the beauty that we have done, let us be the grown-ass adult and not need our child, our inner child, or our actual physical, right now, child, to bolster our ego with, well, you did X, Y, and Z right, Mom. Let's be free from that, and instead, let's remember all the beauty we have given. Hand to heart, feet to earth. We've also made some shitty ass mistakes, my loves. Maybe you've made less than me, but I absolutely will continue to make mistakes because I don't know what I don't know. But I'm willing to listen to when I've messed up, and I'm a safe person to give that feedback to with my precious baby boy. I'm so passionate about owning my dark side. Not in an obsessive way. I also love my bright light side. I love my spirit, guys. I love the beauty that I bring to this world. I am so in tune with that. That's easy. That's easy. Well, actually, that's a lie. It's taken me a long time to accept that beauty. Like forever. It took me so long to even like my own photography because I always was critiquing it so harshly. Now I just love it. I'm like, oh, that's such a beautiful photo. Well done, girl. Damn, you nailed that photo. That's how I talk to myself now. We're gonna get things wrong. We also get a lot right. We're allowed to be an inner asshole. I think that's what I really want to leave us with today is instead of rejecting and like, oh, I wish I wasn't like this, with all things we must embrace. Our inner asshole also needs a hug. Our inner asshole needs to be accepted. It's okay. It's okay. I don't like that my son remembers it as so etched, like it is basically a scar in his earth school when I yelled at him for the coconut oil. It scared him deeply. It is a scar, it is an imprint. It is going nowhere. But never would I be defensive. Oh, you're not over that already? I would never. You're not over that? I've apologized so many times for that. No. Oh, baby. Yeah, that wasn't okay. I'm so sorry. Do you forgive me? I'll ask for forgiveness as long as I need to about that. As long as I need to. I want him to know that I take that scar seriously. I believe him when he tells me that hurt. And that does not diminish, it does not take away from all the good that I have done for my precious baby boy. Both things exist simultaneously, my loves. Pain happens in relationship, and beauty happens in relationship. And actually, that's what I want to talk about next week. I'm going to talk about the healing that happens only in relationship, because so much of our trauma, so much of our pain, so much of our difficulty in life happens in relationship. For example, hating my body, I learned that from other people. I learned it from my family, and I learned it from the culture. I learned that being fat was unacceptable. I learned that, in other words, in relationship with other people. I was not born that way. And so to heal that, it is very hard to do just on our own. I feel like a lot of times what we hear from the spiritual world is, well, you got to heal yourself. And yes, we must tend to our healing. It is our responsibility to tend to our healing. Often it's not fair, but it is our responsibility, even when we've had the worst traumas in our life, and it's not fair, but it is our responsibility to do our own healing. And a lot of that healing is done in relationship because the pain was committed in relationship. And so that's what we're going to talk about next week. But for this week, I just want to leave you with this. If you feel that little tinge of inner asshole, can you give that precious part of yourself a little hug and say, oh, there you are. Are you tired? You might need a little massage. Maybe your inner asshole needs to lay down in the hammock. Let's not reject that inner asshole. Let's understand that there's a reason it's there. Let's recognize it. Let's ask, what can we do so that it can be more peaceful? One thing that I've had to do is work less, change my life, so that I can have more energy to pour into my precious boy, into our life together. I'm constantly asking myself that question. How can I nurture the relationship with my son differently? How can I nurture the relationship with my husband? That takes energy. And if you run your own business and are in survival mode like I've been most of my life, well, the inner asshole is going to come online a lot, because all of our energy goes into surviving. So essentially, we become out of survival. And we continue to commit to giving our best energy to the people that we love. They do not deserve our worst energy. They deserve our best energy. Including my precious dear friend, you. You deserve to be given your best energy first. So what can you do? What can you do this week? This is your homework. What can you do to give yourself that best energy? One little thing. Doesn't have to be a big ass thing. Don't be that perfectionist like I am. Let's instead be gentle. What one little thing can we adjust to give that more loving energy to ourselves? And how can we be more compassionate with our own inner asshole? With our own snappy parts. The parts that come out as a reaction most of the time because we're tired and overwhelmed and living out of alignment with our soul just to survive. I think that is the theme of all of these episodes, actually. How can we continue to be more compassionate to ourselves? And that is a blessing being a parent to my son has given me. He's allowed me to hold my inner asshole accountable and parent my own inner child so that I can be the very best parent for him. And by very best parent, I mean one that will make lots of mistakes, but one that is not afraid of her mistakes. Let's take a deep breath through our nose. Inhale. Fill your belly. Fill your chest. Hold your breath. Take a little sip more of breath. Hold. Soften your shoulders. Soften your jaw. And then exhale so slow, so slow, so slow, so slow, so slow, so slow. Your body's a safe place to be. Inhale. Hold, and then inhale a little bit more. Exhale. So slow, so slow. There's nothing to fix in your precious body. Your body's a safe place to be, even with the pain. Inhale. Hold. Inhale a little bit more. Exhale so slow, so slow, so slow. This body is safe to experience joy. As we get closer to the longest night, well, those of us in the northern hemisphere, the longest night of the year. How can you go slower? How can you go kinder? How can you turn to the magic? Magic of the pain. The magic of the unknown. Thank you for being here, precious friend. I'll be back next week. I look forward to connecting